Hey cute people. I had to do it. I didn't want to. Today is Wednesday. Dark Girls, the documentary, was on OWN Sunday night. When I watched it, I wanted to make a video, but I decided, I'll leave it alone. I had wanted to see this movie last year when it first came out. It played in limited theaters, but I didn't see it. But anyway, it came on television. There is so much I would like to say about it. I don't know where to begin. I hope I'll remember to end, because there's just so much to say about this topic. The first thing I want to say is that it is so disheartening, and it breaks my heart to hear little girls, 6, 7, 8 years old, say they don't like their skin, they don't like being dark, they don't want to be called black, they think it's ugly. That is the most heartbreaking thing you could ever want to hear a queen say. It's not the first time, because if you remember when Tyra Banks had her show, she had a show on, I can't remember what the title was, but there was a little girl saying the same thing. She didn't like herself because her skin was dark. That is very, very hurtful. And I know it had to be very hurtful to her mother, but all women are beautiful. Black women, to me, are exceptionally beautiful. We're beautiful because we have different type noses, different type lips, different shaped faces, different type of hair, how we wear it, natural or relaxed, it doesn't matter. Our skin color, some of us have like that reddish tone, some of us have that like real pretty bright tone to us, whether you could be dark skinned and have it, light skinned and have it. But it just hurts to hear little girls think that way. I think it's terrible as a parent that you have a child who does things like that. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't with my kids 24/7, but I know they were never the ones to be teasing anybody. And I'll bet your paycheck. I was watching a video. I didn't watch a lot of videos, but I know for sure I was watching a video that MuchLoveFromKY did, and she was talking about how she hadn't heard of the paper bag test, and I don't know. It's just so disheartening to think that people don't try to tell themselves a different type of story to get a different type of effect. We as black people, and I know you've heard it because I've heard so many things, I'm telling you, in my life, with people, you have to step back and look. I've heard people say to me, "Oh, I would never date a guy darker than you," meaning me. I've had girlfriends say that. So I guess my complexion is like the cutoff. I'm considered dark skinned. I've had people tell me who were my complexion or darker that they were light skinned. I still remember that to this day. One of the conversations I had with a friend of mine who just kept thinking she was light, and I kept saying to myself, she think that I let her go ahead, but after a while I was like, where do you keep thinking that you're the same complexion as somebody else? That's another crazy story. But even to this day, from the time that we got here till this day, that's why I think it will never end. Because it's not just with black people. It's with Jewish people, Chinese people. It's with all different type of people. Most people think the lighter that you are, the prettier that you are. The lighter that your hair is. Remember, Adolf Hitler wanted an Aryan race. And the Aryan race is going to be what? Blonde. It's so funny because he wasn't even blonde. I never understood that concept. But that just goes to show you that this is not just a black thing. People all over the world, the lighter you are, the better you are, no matter where you come from. It seems like everybody who has black in them never wants to be affiliated with the black man. We know that Africans from Africa went all over the world. And you can see it evident in a lot of people, not just African Americans, but they don't want to be classified as black. That's their story, and it's okay. Because as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I can go so many ways with this video. That's why I didn't want to do it initially. But I had seen maybe 2 or 3 videos, and I was like, I gotta speak my piece. But in this particular documentary, women are talking about how they've been hurt because of their dark skin. My mother's darker than I am. My father died when I was 3, so I really don't know what complexion he was. My mother had a few pictures of him, but unfortunately they were destroyed and they were in black and white, so I really couldn't tell. I could see that he's lighter than my mother. Maybe my complexion, maybe. But I want to ask my mother when I see her this year, later on in the year, about her and how she feels about her dark skin. People on my mother's side are dark skinned people, so maybe she didn't really think one way or another about it because they're all dark skinned people. But kids didn't start getting lighter until her cousins started having children. So I guess it would be my second cousins. They, you know, a lot of them are dark, but there are some light children, and then there's some lighter children. Like my cousin, who's my age, as a matter of fact, we're the same age. Well, she'll be the same age as me this year, if you remember how old I am. So this is back in the late 70s. I don't remember it being a very big topic, but she's darker than all of us younger grandchildren who would be in North Carolina with my grandmother for the summer. She lived here, but she was amongst the darkest. And I remember people saying little things to her, like my cousins, because remember, my cousins are my complexion, pretty much, calling her darky and blacky, but not a lot. But I remember it once or twice. I never did it because that just wasn't my stilo to tease people. I never did. But I remember my stepfather, we were down there one summer, and he used to take pictures of everything, anybody moving, standing, or whatever. He'd take a picture. I'm pretty much the same way too. I like taking pictures, but I haven't done it in a while. But he used to always say how beautiful her skin was. And I remember when I got a little older and I would look back at the pictures and I would think about what he was saying, I was like, I could see the beauty in her skin. Not that I didn't before, but when you're young, like I was young, I just really didn't pay any attention. Color didn't matter to me in a sense of it wasn't important because my mother didn't discuss it. I really didn't grow up in a house where it was discussed white, black, anything. My mother just never talked about it. So everything I know or feel about race, I've learned on the outside. And now we talk about race a little bit more. But when I was growing up, we never did. Or skin color or anything like that. Or so forth and on, thinks that they're cute because they're light skinned. I remember my nephew. Now my sister was a little bit lighter than me, and her boyfriend was probably about a little bit lighter than me. Now my nephew is very light, and I remember when he was young, I used to call him light skin, just joking. I used to call him light skin. My mother told me not to do that. I don't remember why, because this is years back, but she said don't do that. I guess it's not to make him feel any different, because he was the lightest in our house. I always wondered where did he get the light skin from, but I used to do it as a term of endearment, but my mother stopped me from it, so I don't do it anymore. Haven't done it in years. I don't do it to other people. I don't refer to them as their skin color unless you're saying, okay, she's dark skinned. You know, you're describing somebody, but I wouldn't use it the way that I did. And that's the most I could think of my mother really talking about color. Like I said, my mother's darker than me, and I'm curious to know. But I don't think really she had any problems, because maybe she could have in school. But like I said, from my recollection, my family are dark skinned people. My mother's family. My father's side of the family appeared to be a little bit lighter. Not light-skinned people, but my complexion, more or less, like me, or maybe a dot lighter. You know, but yeah, just a dot lighter. But Yeah, it's really disheartening. And you know, when I was watching Much Love from KY's video, and she was saying, well, how did this come about, as far as does someone have a book and they call out or bring me the pretty dark skin. Watch her video and see how she words what she words. But what I want to say to that is, I don't think that people come out and say white women are beautiful compared to black women. I think it's a subliminal message that people pick up, because I'm just saying, I wasn't a slave, so I really don't know. But I have read a lot of slave narratives. And if you know what a slave narrative is, then that's written by the slave themselves. And if you read what the slave may write and say, then I can see why they will come across to think that a white woman is prettier than they would have been at that time. And it's probably still the same way now, because if you live in a shack and your husband can't really protect you, and your clothes are not amongst the best, of course, and you're not eating the best food, and then you see the mistress and the mistress daughters, they have on the finest things from Europe, and their hair is always in a twirly twirl, and people pay them so much attention and treat them like princesses. I think then you would think that they are more beautiful than you are, if your master only comes to just impregnate you and will sell you at a drop of a dime, but the white woman he keeps on a pedestal. That's where I think it started from. Now, like I said, I'm not a slave, and I'm definitely not a psychiatrist or a social psychiatrist or anything, but I think that's where it comes from, and I think that's where it comes from even still now. Little black kids, you don't have to say to a little black kid, oh, she's more pretty than you because her skin is ivory and blonde, or just that she's white, period, and you're ugly. I think they see it on TV. You see it in the models. You see it on in magazines. You see it all the time. So you automatically start thinking that that's going to be the most beautiful thing. And since you look nowhere near that, then you cannot be pretty. I think that's where that comes from. And if you agree or disagree, I really would like to know if you think different, the same. Let me know in the comment box, because I'm just curious. Like, I remember years ago, I was with a friend of mine, and I wanted to buy something for a young black girl, and I liked what I saw, but the picture that I saw on whatever it was a t-shirt, I think it was, pajamas or something, was not reflecting who she is. So I wouldn't buy it. And my friend was like, "You're not gonna buy it? I thought you liked it." I said, "Yeah, I like it, but I'm not gonna buy it." Why? Because this does not reflect the person I want to give it to. And that doesn't mean that every time I come across something for a black child, a black person, or something black has to be on it. But most of the time, yeah, it will. I don't see what the purpose is to me of buying a little black girl something that she's fighting in reference to. If she thinks that somebody else looks better than her, why would I want to just keep throwing it in her face and buying her this all the time? Let her see her pretty black self. Buy a doll with an afro, with a pretty smile, pretty dark skin. You know what I'm saying? That's my thought, and I would love to know what you think about that too. But my friend thought I was so wrong. Oh no, that's not right. But I think people are going to revere what they see, and if they see things that look more like them, and then it's reinforced, then you tend to have a more healthier attitude towards yourself. A lot of these women have to wait until they get 20, 30 years old, because now they can change the stories for themselves to see, yeah, I am beautiful. I do look good. But then when they were little, people don't do that for them. And I wonder ever, did my stepfather tell my cousin that he thought that she was pretty? I really don't think he did. I don't think that he did. And to this day, I wonder if she ever feels that way. I don't know. Maybe she has, because, I mean, she's damn near 50, so hopefully she's reckoned with. I mean, I've come across all kind of crazy things. I have people say to me things like, "Oh no, I don't go outside in the sun because I don't want to get dark." I'm like, wow. I've had people say to me in reference to my skin complexion, "Oh, I wouldn't date anybody darker than you." That was like, wow. That was a girlfriend of mine. who said that to me in reference to the men that she would date. Because she was getting married, she was messing with this guy, and I don't know why it came up that she wanted to tell me about that guy being his complexion. I don't remember why it came up, but I was thinking, okay. But then did she let me know that she wouldn't date anybody darker than me, and he was pretty much about my complexion. Colorism means a lot to black people. I'm telling you. I mean, I have heard people, and this might sound funny, I have heard people say that somebody was good looking just because they were light skinned. And I'm like, wow, I've heard that. I've heard people say that someone who didn't look like what they thought they should look like based on maybe their hair texture, their skin color, you know, you have to look a certain way to be cute. I've had girlfriends say to me, I remember another story I could tell you real quick. I was, you know, I met a young man, he looked good. He went to school with, you know, his cousin went to school with a friend of mine. So we were gonna, you know, talk and, you know, whatever. But she wanted to let me know that as soon as he saw another one of her classmates who was light skinned, he was going to like her better than he was going to like me. Now this is a friend of mine. That's the same one who told me she wouldn't date a man darker than me. And I was like, well, now she's my friend, and she's going to tell me that a guy who likes me, as soon as he sees another one of their classmates, or somebody was having a barbecue, he's going to like her and leave me in the dust because she's light-skinned. Yeah. Our friendship changed after that. Because one thing I can tell you about me, myself, I don't believe in having any friends that put me down or say anything. I don't ever want to hear, I didn't mean it that way, I didn't say it like that, that's not what I meant. No, if you say it, you meant it. And our friendship wasn't really the same after that, because I just don't get it. I really don't. I do get it. I really do get it. Let me stop saying I don't get it, because I do get it. There's a lot of people who have African in their blood who deny it all day long, will never even admit or want to say or even have someone call them black, and you know who I'm talking about. It's a shame. Africans have been all over this world. Do you hear me when I tell you? I mean, North Africa, South Africa, in Africa, over in Spain, in the Dominican Republic. They've been in Mexico, everywhere, and trust me, we all know that seeds were mixed. People come out dark for a reason, but they don't want to admit they have African in them, or want to tell their children, don't mess up our race by bringing somebody black into. I don't get it. I keep saying I don't get it because it's just so disheartening. I do get it. That's why I kept saying I didn't want to do this video. But if you have not seen the documentary, you have to see it, because it's just the most heartbreaking thing that you could ever think of to see. You know, I mean, not the most, but it definitely was. I myself feel like, I don't know if I necessarily always agree with everybody that beauty comes from within. For some people it shines and it radiates. I do believe that. I can say I'm somewhat a shallow chick, but not shallow in the sense of skin color, because I know people of all hues that are beautiful, and I know people of all hues that are not beautiful. And just because somebody is white or light doesn't make them pretty. I can name 10 white chicks right now that we see all the time. They're not cute, but somebody reveres them and thinks because they're white girls that they need to be revered. And I think that's where it comes from. Who during slavery was revering a black woman? Nobody. You know, we couldn't do what we wanted, we couldn't wear what we wanted, we couldn't say what we wanted. And I think that when people got to the point where they could, maybe based on their skin complexion or whatever, they started to think they were better. As a matter of fact, another slave narrative that I was reading too, I can't think of the name of it, but if you get a chance, Google some slave narratives and read them, and you'll see where a lot of these things came from. But real story short, the slave felt that because he was the master's son, which at that time you don't go tell the master, well, I'm your son. You know, the master probably does know, but he don't care. But anyway, he felt that he was better than other slaves on a plantation because he was lighter than they was. He thought he was smarter than they were because he was lighter than they were. And remember, this is a slave narrative when 16, 17, 1800s, whenever it was. So you got to think that there are people that really feel that way, that really think like that. You don't really stop and think, well, okay, I may be a light-skinned person, but my mother wasn't. I think his mother was a mulatto too. But when it comes to colorism, that is something that is not going to stop. And then you ask the question, you say, well, why is it that black men feel the way they do, in reference to a lot of them on the show saying that they rather date light-skinned women, or one young man said a dark-skinned woman would look right next to him, things like that. Because again, to me, it's what you see. And it could be also what you're being told. But it really is what you see. Really it is. When they started coming out saying I'm black and I'm proud and wearing the afros, people started getting a little bit more pride in themselves. Yeah, it probably didn't last very long, because something probably came in the way to combat it some way or another. But that's the message you need to send. Yeah, you black and you look good. Like Much Love from Kentucky said, tell yourself you look good. You tell yourself you look good, you're going to believe it. If you keep seeing other people shining and saying that this one looks better than that one because this is what that one looks like, remember, it happens to everybody. It's not just black people. I mean, black people, it seems like we just get the hard, like everything that happens in the world, when it comes to black people, we always get it 10 times the hardest. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you have criminals in the world. Black people aren't the only ones committing crimes, but when it comes to the black community and our crime, it's like magnified. When it comes to colorism in our community, it's like magnified. When it comes to black women in our hair, or sending a note to the school saying that the children can't wear their hair in braids or afro puffs or whatever. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, really? But it happens. And I don't think it's ever going to stop until we're all one color, whichever that may be. Like I was saying before, when I was growing up in the late 70s, now you got to follow what I'm saying in case I don't say it all out. Light-skinned people, there weren't a lot of light-skinned. Like if you go to school, most of the kids in school were dark-skinned. There might be some light-skinned kids, you know, a few, not a lot. And to me, something that's different, that's not the same as the majority, is going to be looked at a lot different, or going to stand out. And I remember kids were being teased because they were light-skinned. And because somebody somewhere told someone that she's light, she thinks she's better than you, so that girl would get teased and she would get bothered. Now you look out in the world, you see a lot of lighter people because of mixing skin tones and colors and races, and people are lighter, hair textures are different. It's not like you go to school now, you can see, you don't see as many, I know it sounds crazy, you don't see as many dark skinned people like you did when I was growing up. When I was growing up, that was the majority of what you saw. So people were going to get teased because they were different. And then all the black people, I remember when I lived in Brooklyn, there was a young girl and her sister. The oldest girl's name was Carol, and she had a sister, and we call her Busha. And they were light-skinned. They were light like Tisha Campbell light. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, like Tisha Campbell light. All the girls that lived in the projects, not every single one of them, but all the girls in the projects where I live, there weren't that many girls that were light like they were. They were teased and bullied mercilessly. Without mercy. They were teased. Because they were light. I know a couple of years ago, where I was stationed, well, working, I should say, not stationed like in the military. There was a young lady there. She was dark skinned, and there was another woman there who was light. And to me, she always made me think of Beyonce. She had that type of look to her, complexion, face, features, and everything. That type of Beyonce type look. I swear, if she told me she was Beyonce's first cousin, yeah, first cousin, I would believe her. that dark-skinned girl did not like the light-skinned girl. And I know it stemmed from, and she would always want to say stuff like, oh, light-skinned people, they all think that they're cute. I heard that too. Like, light-skinned girls, they all think they're cute. Light-skinned guys, they all think they're cute. But I'll come across some light-skinned girls that had the lowest self-esteem. They may have thought they were cute because they were light-skinned, but that didn't matter because they still had issues. So, you know, I met some dark-skinned guys that think they're cute, and they wasn't, but not because they were dark. But I mean, when it comes to color, I don't think, like I said, it's ever gonna stop. But that's definitely a show that you definitely can see, because I could touch on so many different things that went on in the video, but I really hope you get a chance to see it. It came on OWN, so you'll be able to see it, because it's probably going to play over and over and over again. Today is Wednesday. It originally came on OWN Sunday night, and I know it played again last night, Tuesday. So this week I'm very much sure it's going to be on again, but it was very enlightening because none of this stuff is going to change until we teach our children to think of it in a different way. But if the parent doesn't think that way, because like I said, there's some parents. I've had Puerto Rican people tell me, my grandmother is darker than you. And if I brought somebody black home, yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, say what? And I believe it. Yeah, I had a friend tell me, yeah, my grandmother is darker than you, me, and if I brought a black girl home, I was like, wow. As a matter of fact, no, that's not once I heard it, it was twice. Puerto Rican. So I can imagine Dominicans probably, I don't care what you think about what I'm saying, but I'm sure Dominicans feel the same way too. Shoot, what? Some black people feel the same way too. Girl, let me tell you right now, we light-skinned people. You don't be bringing up no dark-skinned guy up in here or no dark-skinned girl up in here. We keeping it light. We keeping it light. My son's father, people are like that. The mother's dark. She married the father who was light. I didn't meet him because he was deceased. Had children. I think she got 8 kids. I think one boy is dark and everybody else is light. Someone told me that they used to tease one of his nieces because she's dark-skinned. Yeah, I believe it. That's why I said I don't think it's ever going to change. Because there are people who do think they are better than you because you're dark-skinned. But you got to get over that. You got to work around it, keep it moving. Tell yourself, no matter what color you are, the reason you are the color that you are because this is what God chose for you to be. He said, you know what? I love this girl because she's one of my creations. This is the color she's going to be. Whoop. Whether it's dark, light, in between, genetics, it don't matter. Trust me. And we do know that people out there who do feel, yeah, I'm better than you because my hair is this way. Yes, I'm better than you because my skin is like that. Yes, there are, and there's going to always be, but you have to get around it. And mothers and fathers, if you have children, even if you don't think your children would do it, sit down with them anyway and let them know. Don't tease or talk about people just because they're different. Whether they may look gay to you or act gay to you, or their skin is not as light as yours is, or their hair is tightly coiled or whatever. Because I told you before, I can see it's really, really black people. When I'm in the street, I see people always looking at my hair. I don't know what they're thinking, but the first thing that comes to my mind is they're probably thinking, wow, why she want to wear her hair like that? But the story I'll write for myself, because I know my hair looks good, I'm saying to myself, yeah, they know it looks good. They know it look good. I've had somebody say, can I touch your hair? Yeah, you could touch it first. She said, oh, it's not hard. It's not hard. No, it's not hard. Get the stereotypical notions out your head about other people until you know for sure that's what it is. So now she can always tell people when they say to her, that is some hard, nappy mess. She can say, no, it's not hard, it's not nappy. She keeps it really nice. Or just because it looks like that doesn't mean that it is. Whatever it may be. Just write your own story see dark girls. Like I said, it's on OWN. It's going to repeat over and over. I'll be surprised if it doesn't play tonight about 2 or 3 times. It's a 2-hour show. So anybody that you need to sit down with them. If you a mama or daddy, sit down with your kids and watch this show. And after you watch the show, talk to them about it. Let them know people are not going to be the same. We are not. We weren't when the world started, and we won't be when it ends. Then again, we might be when it ends. I don't know what plan God has for humankind and the planet Earth. But I will say for sure that you have to love yourself. And as black people, stop thinking that you're better than other people. Well, people period. Stop thinking that you're better than other people for whatever reason. And just know and understand that the black man's been everywhere, but nobody wants to be him. Why is that? That's the question you need to ask yourself. We've been everywhere, but nobody wants to be us. So be proud that you are part of a race that's beautiful, looks good, and we need to start acting like we know it. Now see, this is why I said I didn't want to do the video, because see how long it is? It can go even longer, because I have so many other thoughts in my head about this show. You have got to see it, oh my goodness. And then I watched a video by King's Galore, and she was saying she was wondering why they weren't asking how black men feel about it. But I'm just going to say this. The reason why it's not as important skin color for men, because like I told you before, white women are revered. I'm a woman. Who can I think of? Angelina Jolie's a woman too, right? But she's going to be more revered than I am. I'm not going to get the same type of reaction that she gets, because people, let's even think of this in the slavery days. Like I said, she was revered. I wasn't. So you always thinking, I want what Missy have. I want that. If I look like Missy do, maybe I wouldn't be. I'm cursed, definitely. Because when they used to tell us we were cursed with our skin color. I'm cursed, definitely. So this is why I am not getting the things that she gets or treated like she gets, because I'm not the woman that she is. So black men don't go through the same thing. I think black men, they think the darker a black man may be, he might be stupid or a criminal. So that's something. So that's something else to have to deal with. But when you talk about beauty, because you do get it from black men also. Look at black A-list celebrities. They don't want black women. Look at any black man on a professional team. I'll say professional team. If he's an A-list celebrity, his wife, woman, or whatever, most likely is not going to be black. Most likely she'll be white or of another persuasion, but she most likely will not be white. If he gets a divorce from a black woman that he probably was dating when he was in college, he probably married a non-black woman. Michael Jordan, yeah. Chad Ochocinco, I think his baby's mamas are all black. Us watching his kids, they all seem to be from black women, I would think. But I bet you right now, we see he married Evelyn. I don't think he ever gonna go my complexion. No, I don't think so. Same thing with Denzel Washington. I love Denzel Washington. We know what his wife looked like, right? I bet you any amount of money. This is just me. I don't know what's in the man's heart. But if they ever part, I bet you any amount of money, the next wife he get will not be a dark-skinned sister. I can't say she'll be white either, but I don't think she'll be dark. Videos. King's Galore, the young lady, was saying that she doesn't want them to always use dark-skinned women in videos as video vixens. Well, maybe not just dark-skinned women, but black women. If you've been watching videos, trust me, black women, you don't have to worry about that too much longer, because they don't want you now. And there was a time when we would be upset, like, oh my goodness, they just use the black women as video hoochies. You won't have to worry about that anymore, because white women are going to take that over too, because that's what they want. You know, somebody looks good, but she'll look better red. I mean, come on, they don't want us. So if you're going to be happy about that, okay, be happy. There's some black women that's going to have to choose different occupations, because video vixen ain't going to be one of them. Because now the women, you know, before they were just women. Then they started getting lighter. Now they're going to get whiter. And that's how that's going to be. And people, and I don't want any black athletes to tell me that, like Dennis Rodman was, I think it was Dennis Rodman was saying that when he was younger, black women didn't want him. So now that he's older, so what does that mean now? Black women didn't want you then, you got money, so you want to be with white women. I don't get the mentality that they want to try to tell us all the time in reference to why they're not with black women. But I know for sure that it is with skin color. And I don't want to hear that people fall in love with whoever. Some things are designed the way they are designed for a reason about what's in a person's head. Yes, and you know it and we know it. Black and white people do it. For whatever reason it is. You know, there might be somebody who's dark and don't want to have dark kids and will marry somebody white just because they don't want to have dark kids. Come on. Colorism is never going to change. Colorism is never going to disappear because it deals with every race, not just black people, white people too. A white man want to be adventurous with his family and continue to be the white sheep of the family and do things to be rebellious, so he marries a black woman. Come on now. Race is a big issue that ain't going nowhere. I'm so sorry I kept you this long, but I hope that I did capture your attention and you stayed this long. Like I said, I can go on and on and on for days. On top of the fact that I like to talk too. I know I'm a mess, but I really hope that you enjoyed my video and that you express your views down below, because I'm really curious to know what some people think about particularly this documentary, if you saw it. And just teach your kids a little bit different. That doesn't mean they're gonna grow up and, you know, see the same views the way that you see the things the way that you do, or view them the way that you do. But at least some way, somehow, things will just kick them in the head. Because when I heard my stepfather say that about my cousin, and like I said, race has never really been an issue in my house or growing up at all. When he said that, I started looking at people a whole lot different. And what I mean by that, for me, when I look at a person's aesthetic beauty, I'm looking not just at their skin color. Because again, just because you're light doesn't mean you're cute. And just because you're dark doesn't mean you're ugly. So when I'm looking at a face, you can have a big nose and be gorgeous. You can have a little nose and be ugly. That's just me. But I got to split because I don't want you to not have seen this whole video. And this is just a topic that really, really hits home for me, because I don't want to always keep hearing a little black girl saying, I don't like my skin color, or thinking that you show a little child, black child, 5 pictures and the lightest one is the good one, the pretty one, or whatever. See, that's what I'm saying. Where do you think you get that from? Because you get it from what you see. Not necessarily somebody have to come tell you, oh, verbally tell you, you don't look good. She looks better than you because she's light. Somebody doesn't have to I think it's what you see. What you see on TV. Or the media. Or what you see in your life. Go back, remember when I said about the slave. You know. So I think it starts from right there. And how do you change that? Put more ethnicity in your children's lives. Yeah, they live in a black neighborhood. They see black people. Yeah, okay, that's good too. But let them see black ballerinas. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let them go see black plays and beautiful black people singing. Different hair types. When you see somebody with an afro, don't say, oh, even if you might not even like the style the girl is wearing, but tell your daughter, oh, her hair is gorgeous. Remember I told you my stepfather, just by saying he thought her skin was beautiful, changed a lot for me. oh my goodness, that lady has the most prettiest face. I mean, just say things like that, you know. Kids will see things differently. But if you always telling, every time you see a light-skinned baby, how gorgeous the baby is. Every time you see a light-skinned woman, she is beautiful. Every time you see somebody light, white, or not dark, what do you think your kids are going to look at? You know what I'm saying? What do you think your kids are going to look at? Or what they're going to think and what they're going to see? Everything that they see is going to be light and pretty? Alright, that'd be cool too. But when you see something dark and Afrocentric, let them know how gorgeous that is. So that way, when she sees her own self in the mirror, she won't be thinking that she's ugly. Because that is so heartbreaking to hear. And I know you do agree. So look, I gotta go. I'm gonna end this video before I start talking on more and more and more and more and more. I'm gonna try to make this video short. I'm gonna take some stuff out if I can. I don't want to take anything out, so I don't know. But I am going to end this video now. I'm not gonna do anything really. Just chill out. Sorry about the glare in my glasses and whatever it is here that you may see. You don't see me. You know I'm hiding those dark circles. Oh goodness, I like I don't know why it's so pronounced like that. And like I said, since I come from a dark family, I don't see this in anybody else but me. But anyway, I thank you for stopping by and watching this video. Hopefully I'll see you in the next. And I want you to share and spread love. Remember always, black is beautiful, baby. Don't just say it. Show it. You know, it didn't lather up, but when it lathered up, that